Hello
everyone.
We are from Group 7 Class D, and my name is Muhammad Yusuf Fibrian.
And I'm Diva Akila.
And I'm Sanazia.
And I'm Halisa Husaini.
And I'm Aisyah Nurul. We are here today to dig into educational psychology, the science of learning, teaching, and understanding. What makes us better learners and educators?
Okay, so we'll talk about how learning happens, the role of motivation, and ways we can create better learning environments.
Okay, let's kick it off by exploring what educational psychology is and why it matters.
Segment 1. What is psychology? Educational psychology. Educational psychology is all about understanding how people learn, not just in school but in any setting works, in daily life, or even in their hobbies.
It focuses on things like how we process information, how motivation affects our learning, and how teaching can be tailored to fit different learning styles.
And it's not just about this in classroom, adult learning a new skill, professional adapting to new tools, or even lifelong learners mastering a hobby, all benefit from principles of educational psychology.
So, whether you're a teacher, a student, or someone who loves learning, educational psychology can help make the process smoother and more enjoyable.
Next is segment 2. Key theories in learning.
Now let's talk about the key theories in learning. The first one is behaviorism, which focuses on observable behavior. This theory emphasizes reinforcement like giving praise or rewards to encourage good habits.
For example, think about a teacher who rewards students with a sticker or gift or verbal prize for completing their homework. Over time, their reinforcement can build positive learning habits.
Another important theory is cognitivism, which dives into how our brains process, store, and retrieve information. It's about organizing knowledge in a way that makes it easier to remember and apply.
Then there's constructivism. This theory suggests that we learn best when we actively engage with materials and build our own understanding through experience. A good example is project-based learning, where studies solve real-world problems.
Finally, there's a social learning theory, which shows how much we learn from observing others. This could be a student picking up problem-solving skills by watching a classmate or a new employee learning the ropes by shadowing a mentor.
These theories give us a framework for understanding the many ways we learn, and they are all relevant depending on the situation.
Next is segment 3. The role of motivation in learning. Let's move on to motivation. Without it, even the best teaching methods can fall flat. Motivation is what drives you to start learning and keep going.
It's come in two forms. The first one is intrinsic and the second one is extrinsic.
In your opinion, what is intrinsic motivation?
Intrinsic motivation is when we're driven by curiosity or personal satisfaction, like learning a new skill just for the joy of it.
I wanna ask to Aisyah, in your opinion, what is extrinsic motivation?
In my opinion, extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is about external rewards, like grades, trophies, or recognition. Both play important roles, but intrinsic motivation often leads to deeper, more meaningful learning.
One way to foster motivation is by setting clear, achievable goals. When learners know what they're working toward, they're more likely to stay engaged.
Another tip is to make the material to learners' life. If they can see how the content applies to their interests or future, their motivation will naturally increase.
Next is segment 4, the impact of environment on learning. Now, let's talk about the environment. Physical, social, and emotional atmosphere can make or break the learning experience.
A supportive environment where learners feel safe to ask questions and make mistakes is essential. This helps build confidence and encourage active participation.
Collaboration is another key element. Group projects, peer discussion, and teamwork can help learners gain new perspective and deeper understanding.
And then there's the role of technology. Tools like virtual classrooms, interactive apps, and online simulations have made learning more dynamic and accessible.
But remember, technology is a tool, not a replacement for human connection. A balance of digital and in-person interaction often works best.
Next is segment 5, particle types for learner and teachers. Now, for some actionable tips. If you are a learner, try using active learning strategies. Don't just read or listen. Take notes, summaries, or explain the material to someone else.
For teachers, focus on differentiation. Adapt your lesson to meet the diverse needs of your learners. Use visuals, hands activities, and discussion to keep everyone engaged.
Another great tip is to practice rhetorical instead for rereading notes. Quiz yourself and discuss the topic with a friend. It's one of the best ways to train the memory.
And whether you're a teacher or a student, take regular breaks. Research shows that short, focused study sessions with breaks in between are far more effective than cramming.
Finally, reflect on what you've learned, think about what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve next time. Reflection is a powerful tool for growth.
Okay, that's wrap up today's podcast episode, guys.
We hope this insight into educational psychology have inspired you to think differently about learning and teaching.
Thanks for listening, and remember, learning is a journey, not a destination. Bye.
Bye.